Hello, welcome to the New York City Home Fire Safety Academy. This is the Level 1 Technician online training. So glad that you're here today. This training does include audio and video. If you have not already, please have your volume turned on before continuing. Home fire annual statistics. The Red Cross responds to over 2,200 local disasters. Most of them are home fires. The FDNY responds to over 26,000 fires and 1.4 million medical calls. There were 48 fire deaths in New York City in 2016. That's the lowest number in 100 years, thanks to programs like this. Our objectives. We want to install up to 100,000 alarms within 24 months. We do this with smoke only and combo carbon monoxide alarms. We want to reduce home fire-related deaths and injuries, and we want to increase fire safety knowledge among residents and communities. When we go out, you'll be part of a team. We want to project a professional image. Smile, be friendly, dress neatly, and if you have Red Cross gear, wear it. You'll be given a vest, for sure. Follow the script, but make it your own. We'll talk more on this later. Be culturally sensitive. Respect the diversity of the New York City residents and adapt behaviors as needed. What does that even mean? Maybe that means taking off your shoes in a home where you're asked. Maybe that means changing your role with another member who may speak a language other than you. Whatever it is, our goal is to help these residents. But most importantly, be safe. Your safety is our #1 concern. Wear closed-toe, flat shoes. Spot team members on ladders when needed, and keep your team members in sight. So, what all makes up a team? An installation team includes 3 roles: educator, documenter, installer, usually led by a team leader. Just because these 4 different positions, educator, documenter, installer, and team leader, does not mean there will be 4 people. Oftentimes, there may only be 2 on your team, an educator/documenter and an installer, with one of them being the team leader. This varies event by event. The educator. We're going to educate you today as if you're both the educator and the documenter. I promise you can do it. So the educator's role: greet the resident and offer free education in detector installation. Introduce the team and their roles, review the home fire safety checklist with the resident, explain the home fire escape plan, and the resident will complete it later, and review the detector maintenance along with the installer and the resident. Sometimes the installer does that part, sometimes you will. It's all about being flexible. Alright, so let's listen to what it sounds like to arrive at a door and the educator to their part.
Oh, hello. My name is Paola.
Hi, Paola.
Hi, how are you? I'm a volunteer from the American Red Cross, and I'm here with Vivian today.
Hi, Vivian. Yes, how can I help you?
We're here today to install free carbon monoxide and smoke alarms and provide free fire safety education.
Free alarms.
Yes, and education. Would you like to this free service? Are you interested?
Yes, and how many alarms are you going to install?
Well, that depends. Once we go through your home, we will know.
Okay. Okay, yes, I'm interested.
Okay, before we get started, will you be willing to sign this form?
The form is for what?
This form says that we were here, that we installed free alarms, and we provided free education.
Yeah, I need to sign.
Yes, it's good for us to keep track.
Okay, I will sign.
Thank you.
Listen to them. What are the 4 things the Red Cross volunteer did? They introduced themselves and their team. Second, they identified themselves as being with the Red Cross. Third, they described what the team would do. They're here to install alarms and provide education, all of which is free. Notice the free. Finally, they asked the resident if they are willing to sign the form. We'll talk more about what this form is when we get to the documenter role. For now, let's stick with education. Congratulations, you've made it inside the home. To give you an idea of what happens next, the installer will go around the home seeing where current alarms are and will be checking them and deciding where new alarms should go. As a team, you'll be walking around with them and you'll be educating. The first thing you do is you go over this home fire safety checklist with the resident. This is where you can bring your own style to it. For me, I like to look around the home, ask questions, make things work in that way, bring connection. Other people, they read the form. That's fine too, as long as you're not monotone. But no matter what you do, you must go over these tips. These are the tips that are most likely going to reduce the risk of home fire, which is our number one goal. Some of the things are said with a silly little rhyme. Please say them like that. It may sound silly to you on your 100th time, and you may have it memorized like the back of your hand. However, your 100th resident and your first resident need to be given the same information. And information that was created because it sticks. So please, follow what's on the form, but you're welcome to introduce it in ways that make sense when you're in the home. Let's go over what's on the checklist. Keep an eye on what you fry. 3 feet from the heat. Never smoke in bed. Large and small appliances are plugged directly into wall outlets. Matches and lighters need to be locked away. Smoke alarms need to be tested once a month and replaced every 10 years. And finally, practice a 2-minute fire drill twice a year. We'll go more into what this fire drill is a little bit later. For now, these are the main things. You're going over basic cooking safety, talking about heating, ensuring no one's smoking while they're laying down or asleep, ensuring large and small appliances are plugged directly into wall outlets, that if they have children there, the matches and lighters are locked away, and that their smoke alarms are working. Now that you've gone over the paper, you can add a couple of little things. Little things can make a big difference. So, carbon monoxide safety. This is difficult to detect without a carbon detector. It's often called the silent killer because it's odorless, tasteless, and colorless. And symptoms mimic the flu: headache, nausea, dizziness, fatigue. In the winter, it's hard to tell the difference. Few homes are equipped to detect carbon monoxide, and only 25% of American homes have a detector. A common cause of carbon monoxide exposure is simply improper use of appliances. It killed 200 plus people and sickened 10,000 each year. Now that you've gone over the home fire safety checklist, you've mentioned the importance of a carbon monoxide alarm. This is where we go over the FD&Y fire escape plan. We want to encourage families to create this later when their whole family is home. So, discuss the plan and have them practice it twice a year with 2 exits from every room that they can get out of in 2 minutes or less. Finally, they need to have a planned meeting location. The meeting location can be simply around the corner or across the street, but this is very important. If at 2 a.m. the emergency services comes up to you because your house is on fire and they ask if everyone is out safe, you need to be able to say with certainty yes or no. If you say maybe, then they're going to risk their lives to save a life that may or may not be in that home. So again, the 3 things that they need to do: the resident needs to discuss the plan as a family and create your escape routes. They need to practice twice a year, that they can get out of 2 exits from every room in 2 minutes or less. And they need to have a planned meeting location. So, Let's see how this actually looks between a volunteer and a resident.
Now I would like to go through some materials with you. These materials will help prevent a fire, so it's very important to know this information. First of all, I noticed that you have some pots and pans in the kitchen. Do you cook?
Yes, sometimes.
Okay, so it's very important to keep an eye on what you fry. Always stay in the kitchen when you're cooking, boiling, frying, whatever. It's very important to always be in the kitchen.
Yes.
The second point is to always keep your furniture, curtains, dish towels, anything that could catch a fire 3 feet away from the heat sources. That could be fireplaces or the heater, etc. So always 3 feet away. Okay?
Also, the curtains I need to take it out because it's too low.
Yes, you have to shorten them. Okay. Do you smoke or anyone in the home smokes?
No, we don't like to smoke, but sometimes my brother comes and smokes.
Okay, so it's important to remind him to never smoke in bed. This is a very important point because mattresses can catch fires very quickly.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So that's very important to remind him. Also, for your appliances, large or small, it's very important to plug them directly into the wall outlets. Do not use any extension cords or anything like that, directly into the wall.
So I cannot use extension cords?
If you are going to use them just for smaller appliances, but never for large appliances.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any children living here?
No, sometimes my grandchildren, they come.
Well, that's very nice. So when they come, it's important to always lock away the matches and lighters,
yes.
And especially if they come to play and all that stuff. So preferably under key. Important to notice that the alarms that we're installing today are 10-year alarms, so they don't need battery replacement.
Oh, for 10 years?
For 10 years.
But that's very good.
Yes, we will write down the expiration date on every alarm, so you will know when it's time to replace those. But what we do need to do is to test the alarms once a month. We will show you how to test them, but you have to test each and every alarm once a month.
Every month I need to test it. Okay.
Yes, we will show you how to do that.
Oh, okay.
Also, I will leave these materials with you. This is for you to draw a fire escape plan. You are the one who knows your home better, so you can sit down with your family and draw your home. And you should have an escape from each of the rooms, two different routes. You should have 2 different routes to escape from each room in less than 2 minutes. It's very important to remember this timing. And you should practice these escape routes twice a year. So remember, 2 routes, practice twice a year, and these routes should be in less than 2 minutes.
2 minutes out of the house or out of the room?
Out of the house.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
2 minutes.
And
okay.
Lastly, it's very important for you to have a meeting point with your family. Everyone should have this information. Sometimes the meeting point could be just on the other side of the road, but it's very, very important because when the emergency services come, we have to account for every member of the family. If we're not sure of where they are, a fireman could risk their lives because we don't know if there's someone inside the home. So it's important to have this meeting point and always know where each member is.
Oh, that's all very good, all the information that you gave to me today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
How did the video look? Are you starting to get the big picture? Please note that in that video, the resident and the volunteer were sitting down. Normally in a home, you'll be walking around with the installer as they're checking and installing alarms. However, there are times when the resident is unable to walk around with you. If that is the case, you are welcome to sit with them, as long as you can keep an eye on your other teammates. Remember, your safety is our number one priority. Now, let's go think back to the video. What are the 4 things the Red Cross volunteer did? 1. They went over the home fire safety checklist. 2. They introduced the FD&Y fire escape plan. 3. They explained the importance of a meeting location. And 4. They reminded the resident to check their alarms once a month. Great, you've made it through the education role. Now on to the documenter. But remember, sometimes you're going to be both the educator and the documenter. The documenter has 3 main roles. Their roles are to fill out the service acknowledgement form and get the resident's signature before leaving the home. They are to complete the online fire alarm installation reporter form, and they're to input the status of the visit on their smartphone or tablet.
If you want an event, we provide tablets. However, you're welcome to use your smartphone. The service acknowledgement form. This is the one that we mentioned before you go into a home. The one that you have to get verbal agreement to of them being able to sign before you're allowed to step into a home. Everything with an asterisk is required. Anything additional is great information. If you can get it, great. If you can't, that's okay too. Take a look at the top right-hand side. There are a few questions I'd like to go over. The first is, did the resident create a fire escape plan? This answer is no. Unless the resident creates the home fire escape plan in front of you with their family, the answer is no. Most of the time they wait for everyone to get home. Did the resident review the home fire safety checklist? The answer is yes. That is the form that you went over as the educator. Did the resident learn about a local hazard? The answer is no. This really means an additional hazard, such as hurricane safety. But the information that we are providing is so important and will lead to reducing the risk of home fire that we want to stick to these points. Next, look at the middle section. That is where both you and the resident will print your names, sign, and date. Please use your best handwriting. Someone is going to be inputting this information possibly months down the road, and they may not know who you are. Now, if you look further down in the form, there's another question. If you are a veteran to this program and you've been doing this for multiple events, this may be a new addition. For everyone else, everything's new. How many veterans, military members, or military family members live here? That's on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side is a similar question, but is referring to the team. You'll notice where it says SAF-EDU, or educator, SAF-INST, or installer, or SAF-DOC, or documenter. This is asking the same question. Is anyone on your team service to the armed forces? If the answer is yes, please note how many people are on your team and what role they are in. Now, you've gone, you've installed, you've filled out the form. Great. This is now the part where you go on to www.redcross.org/HFPC report. This is where you put in the information. Don't worry, you don't input everything, but this form allows us to do a few things, especially during an event. 1, safety first. This shows us how teams are doing. If we haven't heard from you in a while, we're going to worry about your safety, and you will be contacted. Another thing is we want to reach as many residents as possible. Maybe you're a brand new team, and you're just talking to everybody that you thought you might. We might take some of the appointments we have from your team and give them a team who is going through really fast, whether that's because they're a veteran team and have been doing this multiple times, or because their other residents canceled on them. Either way, we use this form for multiple reasons. On this form, you'll enter your team number and if the household had an appointment. If they had an appointment, you'll continue to the next step. If they don't, it'll ask you an additional question of what the address is. After that, you'll input the appointment number if you had one, and you'll choose a status. The status will be if you installed, if you had to reschedule, or if the resident said they would call back, if you educated only, if they decided they're no longer interested, or if they weren't there or you had to leave a message. No matter what you do, you'll fill this out. This means you may not fill out a service acknowledgement form, but you will always fill this out. Now to the installer role. The installer has several important parts. They determine the alarm placement. We have two different types of alarms: smoke-only alarms, these go one in every bedroom, and carbon monoxide / smoke alarms. These are our combo alarms, and this is one per floor in the common area, usually outside the bedroom, but does include the basement. We do not remove any existing detectors. The installer is going to check the current alarms first. If they're not working or they expire within the year, you're going to install new detectors. Again, smoke only in the bedrooms and combos in the common areas, near the old detectors, if the detector is in a correct area. If there is a working smoke-only alarm in the common area, please install a combo alarm. So what does this mean? If you're in the hallway and there's a smoke-only alarm and it's outside the bedrooms and there's no carbon monoxide or combo alarm nearby, please install our combo alarms. After checking current alarms, you will install and review detector maintenance with the resident, and you'll contact the supervisor if you're running low on detectors. So, where do you place them? The ceiling is the number one place to put them. This is where smoke hits first. The further down you put an alarm, the longer it takes for the alarm to go off. Every second matters when trying to save a life. Now, if you cannot reach the ceiling or you are unable to put it on the ceiling for whatever reason, then you may put it on the wall, 4 to 12 inches from the ceiling. No corners, no bathrooms, no kitchens. We also have these alarms called bedside alarms. If there is a resident that is hard of hearing and needs a bedside alarm, please contact your supervisor. They'll be able to help them out. So, let's see how this looks to install a smoke-only alarm on a typical soft surface. When I say soft surface, I mean what most homes are. Other homes sometimes have more of a concrete wall. We'll talk about that in a moment. All right, now we're going to watch a volunteer install an alarm on one of our training boards. You'll have this opportunity as well right before any big event. So far, the installer has put on their safety goggles. They added the battery, which I suggest doing second. Then they're adding the drill bit. They're ensuring it's straight and on all the way. This part gets easier the more you've done it. Next, they're going to take the base plate of the smoke-only alarm, put it in the location that they need to, and mark the holes. Afterwards, they're going to line the drill up square with the wall and then drill 2 holes. You only need a drill as deep as the wall mount or molly. Those are the red parts you'll see in a moment. Notice they take the drill out and now they're putting on the new bit. This is the part that you'll use to screw in the screws. Next, they put in the wall mounts. If the wall mounts do not go in easily, you may want to widen the hole just a tiny bit. Or you're welcome to use the back of the drill to give a couple small taps. These should only be small taps. If you're having to do much more than a couple light taps, then you should really drill a little bit bigger. Now, if you're new to using hand tools or to installing alarms, I suggest you hand screw both screws a couple of times. This will make sure that everything lines up smoothly for you. However, if you've installed tons of times, you may find it easier to just continue with just one using the automated tool. Sometimes this process goes really fast. Other times it can take a bit. This is why it's important as a team to work together. This is when the educator will be educating or possibly answering questions, filling out the form as a documenter, and getting signatures. The volunteer in this video is checking to ensure that the plate is on. Now, adding the alarm that has the expiration date marked already, and they're testing each alarm. Great, now you've seen on a typical surface. Now let's see what it looks like on a harder surface. It's very similar. The same steps are involved. Safety glasses, drill, mark the points, drill again, put the plate on, screw it in. But there are a few differences. If you start to screw and you notice that the wall is too tough, you can actually adjust the setting. What the volunteer just had their hands on a minute ago was where the settings are. You can change it to what's called the jackhammer setting. Right there. Adjust the setting as needed, be square with the wall or the ceiling, and be consistent and make the holes. Notice that on the combo alarms, the plate is smaller and there'll be 3 small holes rather than 2. But again, the same process. While you're watching this, do you remember where alarms go? Think about this for a little bit. Alright, so she's adding the mollies or wall mounts and adding the plate. When you do put on alarm for the first time, it should make a beep. If it does not make a beep, take it off, write on the box, not the alarm, but the box, that it's not working, and grab a new alarm. Let your supervisor know when you get it back. Notice how the volunteer is square with the wall? That's a very important part. If you're not square, the screw will go in the wrong direction. Then again, the install and expiration date. You'll need to write this on every alarm. How do you determine it? You look at the date on the alarm and add 10 years. Alright, the volunteer pushed the alarm, and in this case there's 2 sounds. You'll learn about that in the next slide.
These alarms are 10-year alarms. I wrote the date you need to replace the alarm. To test your alarm, push this button. The first beep lets you know it's about to test. For the combo alarm, there are 2 different sounds. The first sound sets of long beeps are for smoke. These are the same for smoke-only alarms that are in your bedrooms. The rapid beep sounds are for carbon monoxide. Either way, get out to your meeting location. When you call 911, you'll be able to tell them what to expect.
Great job! You're almost done. Now, do you remember where you install an alarm? If they're the smoke alarms, then they go in the bedrooms. And a bedroom does not have to be a stereotypical bedroom. If you find out a person is sleeping on the couch and that's where they normally sleep, then go ahead and install one in the living room. Combo alarms are one per floor and in the common areas, usually outside the bedrooms. The best place to install is on the ceiling in the middle of the room. If you install an alarm on a wall, it needs to be 4 to 12 inches from corners and the ceiling. No bathrooms, no kitchens, and away from all fans and air vents. For more information, you can look at the 2017 training brief for a detailed educator, documenter, and installer responsibilities. Next steps. Review the training brief before an event. You'll have the opportunity to practice with the drill and ask questions at your event. Sign up for events and daily installation teams. If you know someone who needs an alarm or someone asks while you're out and about, you can allow them to schedule an installation by visiting redcross.org/getalarmednyc, or they can call 1-877-RED-CROSS. That's 1-877-2761. If you know anyone who would like to volunteer, have them visit redcross.org/volunteer. Thank you again for taking part of this training. Because of you, we're going to help save more lives